everybody knows me as Buster.
So when Santa used to come, and on it was to Buster from Santa.
To Buster.
Don't get better than that, huh?
It does not. All right, all right, let's start. Where were you born? Where'd you go to school? What high school did you go to?
Yes, born in Charleston, West Virginia, and went to Stonewall Jackson High School.
And, all right, musically, were you in the glee club or the band in high school?
In high school, I was just about in everything. I was in the high school band. I was in the high school orchestra. I was in the, and I was a musician with the high school, which is like a glee club. I was actually a upright bassist for the glee club, singing club, you know.
So upright, the big bass.
Yes.
The big bass.
The stand-up
what was
bass.
your what instrument did you learn? Did you start getting involved with musically?
Guitar was the first. Was the first at 7 years old. Started playing guitar. I was asking my parents for an instrument at 4 years old, and it took me 3 years to convince them to give me a shot on the guitar. You know.
Son, you don't want to be a musician. You're never going to make any money.
You're too young to know that. And ironically, it was the radio, listening to the radio, that made me want to play and sing by hearing the radio.
Okay, so in high school, you were in the band, you were in the glee club, and all of that. Now, when did you start, like, performing outside of high school, or your first club, or?
The performing actually started in high school, going out to a club to play with other high school buddies. We started doing that in high school. We were good musicians for our age. I already knew how to play. We were already playing Motown songs and hit songs on the radio at the time for a young local band.
So you were actually in the garage practicing as a band?
In the garage, practicing as a band. In the garage, or the back porch, yes.
What was the name of your first band?
The first band was The Flames.
The Flames.
Sit down. That's all right. I like that.
The Flames. That sounds like a high school band. Mm-hmm. And since gone on from that. Now, college?
College was a music major in college. I was a brass major, playing low brass instruments, trombone and tuba.
What college?
WVU, West Virginia University.
West Virginia. Well, that's got a whole name in itself.
University.
Now, during that time, in and around West Virginia, you started playing, mm-hmm. and you formed the Flames, and you went to college. Did you have a college band?
Yes, there were groups that were performing outside the school. Yes, that we were going to pubs and things and playing our blues and our soul music and different stuff.
Now, at what point in your have you ever done anything but play music? Were you ever an electrician or a plumber or sat in a cubicle?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he did.
The summers in between college, I did a variety of what we called regular 9-to-5 professions.
Yeah.
And one was on the back of a garbage truck, slinging garbage cans. Did that one summer. I drove a truck. One summer, drove a pizza truck at one time, delivery. I worked for the West Virginia government, as my mother was a West Virginia government employee. I worked for the government as a file clerk in workman's compensation, pulling workman comp files when they look for certain files to evaluate. I sat in a cubicle and did that. And I was the elevator operator also in a building, in the old manual operated elevators in one of the government buildings in Charleston, West Virginia.
Well, that job had its ups and downs.
Yeah, yes, it did. Graduated from there to riding a lawn tractor outside the building they really promoted me.
Promotion.
Yeah.
So, at what point? How old were you, or what point did you say, you know, I don't really want to ride a garbage truck. I don't want to run an elevator. I don't want to sit in a cubicle. I want to be a professional musician?
That actually happened before that at 12 years old.
Really?
Yes.
So you'd already made that decision that that's what you were
I
going to
made
do?
my mind up that, actually, I narrowed it down to two things. I'm going to be a professional musician, entertainer, or I'm going to be an airline pilot. And I want to fly planes. And the music was easier to access. I had already been doing it for 5 years, already been learning guitar, learning by ear, by watching people and listening, and was running with it. I was a fast learner.
Now, obviously, you're a master at your profession, and I say that because it seems that you probably met and performed with one of the greatest musicians of all times, Ray Charles.
Yes, yes. Still, actually, boggles me somewhat today to even think about that and just how it all came about, because I never ever had any idea that I was going to meet him, I just had no idea, that although I was looking to get up there, but I just had no idea I was going to run into his entourage, and they were going to say, "Come on down, Buster Coles."
Now, speaking of that, how did Ray Charles say, "Buster, I want you"?
Yes, it was actually his manager, his road manager at the time, that said, "Buster, I want you." And he says, "I want Ray to listen to you." He said, "Ray's going to like you because I like what I'm hearing, and I know what Ray likes."
So I mean, did you send him a letter or call him on the phone or?
Local band in Charleston, West Virginia that I'm playing with, in a nightclub in Charleston, West Virginia. Ray Charles came into Charleston to do a show, his regular show with his 20-piece band.
Right.
Came in at the Charleston Municipal Auditorium, sold out tickets and the whole 9 yards, and did the show. And right after the show, as a lot of entertainers did in that town at that time, they want to find a nice night spot to go and hang out in.
Right, have a couple of cocktails and beers and just relax. And
Ray himself did not do this. He would go right to the hotel room and chill out. All of his musicians and management would go out. They wanted to go where there was good live music, local live music. That's what they did through the years that I was with them. That's what they liked to do. Go out to hear the live music, and they heard that our place was the place to be.
And you were just lucky enough to be the one playing there that night.
Right, and that was a successful place. The Charleston Athletic Club at the time, everybody came in there. The many celebrities came in there. Hence, I ended up getting to meet and play along with other well-known celebrities because they came in there. And but Ray Charles's whole entourage came in there that night, and they came with their instruments. They wanted to jam with the band. And they did. That's cool.
Okay, so now you're in there, you're jamming with Ray Charles's band.
Yes.
And the manager says, Ray Charles wants to listen to you.
We take a break, and he signals me over and introduces himself. I'm Ray Charles's manager. He says, "Do you travel?" I said, "Well, yes, I travel." He says, "Do you?" He says, I can tell you're pretty happy here with your guys. And I said, "Yes, I like being here." And blah, 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 blah. This is your hometown. He asked me a bunch of questions. He says, "I like the way you play. I can tell what you're doing, the way you listen, the way you follow, the way you lead and follow people. And my musicians are coming up there, and you know exactly how to get them right into what you're doing by eye contact." He says, and he says, and more importantly, the feel you have on your guitar is the feel that Ray likes. I said, Ray. He says, "Ray Charles." I went, "Oh, yes." I said, "I know him," and he goes, he says, "How about you come by the Holiday Inn tomorrow and audition for us?" And I'm going, audition for Ray Charles, And he said, "Yes." He says, "Come by, we'll buy you lunch." He says, bring a guitar. Don't have to bring an amp. We just want to listen to you play. He says, do you read music? I said, yes, I read music. I said, I'm a former school teacher who taught music in public schools, and yes, I read. I do charts. I said, I know Ray's tunes well. I read. I know he uses the big dance books on stage for his musicians. I read those charts. I do all that, and I'm very good at. I was very confident in myself too. I said, I'm very good at listening and laying in there. I said, matter of fact, I know what he wants. He wants somebody to be just right, perfect with his drummer, which I was correct. And they said, come by the hotel tomorrow and play for us just for about 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, so you picked up your guitar, you went down to the hotel, you walked in, and Ray Charles is there.
No, I did not.
He wasn't there.
I did not see Ray for another 2 weeks. First of all, I had made up my mind when I left that night, left the club. I said, you know what? I don't really want to travel. I'm gonna skip out on this thing with the audition and all that because I like where I'm at and and I go home. And my mother, who happened to be up at the time, goes, "How did it go tonight?" I said, "Well, Ray Charles' whole entourage was in the place, and they want me to come by the audition." She went, "What?" I said, "Yes, the Ray Charles. They want me to come by an audition." She goes, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't really want to travel right now." I said, "I'm going to pass on it." She went, "You get yourself up there and get to bed and get cleaned up and get yourself down to that hotel and go meet those people. The least you can do. They invited you. You go see what they have to say and go play for them." I went, "Are you throwing me out of the house?" And she was, "No, just get down there and you go meet those people."
Yeah, I'm throwing you out. Go do it.
Go do it. And so it was my mother's incentive that made sure I was there on time at that hotel. And
so you actually had thoughts of just letting that whole opportunity go by.
Yes, letting it go.
Don't you love your mother?
Yes, always. And that wasn't wasn't the only time she did that. But anyway, got down there and I thought I was going to see Ray. I'm nervous because I said, "Oh my God, here we are." And it was just his road manager, and Ray had an assistant director who sometimes conducts the band when Ray's on stage.
Right.
And it's just those two in a room with a great big Ampex analog tape recorder. And they had Ray's music on it, and they play it, and they had a small amplifier there for me to plug into. They said, "We just want you to play along with this." And I was very confident in myself, and I said, "I even know this tune." I said, "I know exactly what Ray wants." And I just strumming evenly. I said, don't play any riffs or nothing, just play strum even. And the managers, the assistant director is going, "That's exactly what he would want." And I'm sitting there like patting myself on the shoulder. I know, and because I said, "I really don't really want to do this thing anyway." And then we went to another tune, and I played that. Then they opened up the book and says, "Okay, we want you to read this and play along with this." I read that, played along with it, and they said, "When can you start?" I was actually kind of stunned. I went, "You're actually offering me the job?" I said, "Wow, Ray Charles, my gosh, And they said, "We want you to start," they said, "We'd like you to start in 2 weeks with us in Dayton, Ohio. Come to the first rehearsal with Ray."
How old were you?
I was, in 1982, I was 29.
Get out your calculators, folks.
There you go. 29.
I was 29.
Do you remember the first time that you met Ray Charles?
Just like it was yesterday. Just like it was yesterday. We rehearsed in Dayton at the Civic Center in Dayton. Dress rehearsal on stage for the concert that night. And we assembled on stage, and I nervously walk out on stage. This is the first time I met, I remember some of the other players in this band because I'd met them when they came and jammed with me.
Right.
But here's Ray sitting at the piano right in front of me, right no more than 3 feet in front of me. I'm standing behind him with my guitar. I'm going, and I'm biting my nails, and I'm sweating and going, "Do not mess up, Buster Coles. Do not mess up right now," because I hear this man is strict. And Ray, Ray's, he's going, "All right, now here we go. Let's pull up this chart right now. Now be careful now. Watch the tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, and we're playing, and we're playing along. And I'm trying to be very, very careful, so I'm playing softly. And he turns around and goes, "You're playing too soft. You're hiding from me. You're hiding from me." you know, and he stops the band. He goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Buster Coles." He goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from West Virginia." "West Virginia is no name. Here we go." And I became West Virginia for the next 3 years.
There you go.
And he said, "Now you're West Virginia, and West Virginia don't hide from me." Quote Ray Charles. And I perspired some more and played a little louder, you know. And it was quite the experience. I was very nervous on stage and just being behind him, but of course I stepped up to it and just played, laid the guitar chords in there very strong along with the drummer, you know, and he's turned around. I can see him turn around and he's listening, you know, and I just made sure I laid it in there, and he's shaking his head like this. I said, "Okay, I think I've got his approval so far," you know. So
How did he influence or change your musical career?
Ray was such a perfectionist. He influenced me to always wanting it to be no less than perfect when you put it out there in front of the audience. However, it's done with Ray's way. He wants it to be perfect. He wants it to be flawless. He gets very irritated very easy when someone doesn't do it perfectly like he wants. He yells at people, he stomps and throws a fit, and I really felt bad for the drummer because he was on the drummer every song all the time, even though this guy on the drums was great. But I couldn't hear the flaws in the drummer. I thought the drummer was doing fine. Actually, the drummer was doing fine, but Ray likes to ride the drummer because Ray's a drummer himself, which I found out.
I didn't know that.
On some of his early recordings, Ray is the drummer. In some of his early, you know, Baby What I Say and a couple of other things that he recorded, he's the drummer. And he's a very, very good drummer. And often he'll get on the drums. Sometimes he's been known to do it in rehearsal. Get on the drums and goes, "I want it to kick like this, like here, you know." Anyway, and he'll reach and he'll feel the cymbals and feel the, you know, toms, and here we go. And he rocks back and forth when he's playing the drums too, and he plays very, very well. And he says, "Okay, play it with me. Here we go." You know, and he plays good. He's a very good drummer. He's also a good alto sax player.
What about off stage with Ray? I mean, you guys obviously hung out with him, you know, out to dinners.
The only time, whenever Ray finished a concert, he would go backstage. His handlers, people who was with him, family members, whatnot, would walk him backstage, and he would sit down for a cocktail before he goes to the hotel. He didn't do night owl nightclub. My time with Ray was just before a concert, when he's standing off stage before they introduce him. I would walk up to him and go, "Mr. Charles, I just want to say it's an honor to be part of your entourage here, be on your show." And he turns and he grabs you by the arm and he goes, "West Virginia, is that you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, it's me." He went, "West Virginia, you're doing a wonderful job too, young man. I'm glad to have you here, and we're going to do good today, and you just keep on doing what you're doing." He says, "And I've told you before, I've been to West Virginia." I said, "I know you have, sir." I said, "I know you have, you know." And he says, "I've been there." He said, "I've been there when you was a little boy." I said, "Yeah, you came to the Crazy Horse Club and you played alto saxophone." He went, "That's right, the Crazy Horse. How did you remember that?" I said, "I lived right behind the Crazy Horse, and my dad told me about it, that you were there playing alto saxophone."
How about that?
So 3 years on tour with Ray Charles.
Yes.
Just in the United States? Did you ever go overseas with him?
Just in the United States. Didn't go overseas. When he went overseas, he took maybe half of that band and used musicians overseas. And I wasn't the one who went overseas with him.
3 years later, now the tour is up.
The tour is up the third year.
Tour is up, and you just went back to West Virginia and started playing at the Crazy Horse again.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the Charleston Athletic Club and hook back up with my old band that I first saw the Ray Charles people with, and because I sweated bullets on stage with Ray right up to the last day, And I said, okay, I'm gonna need a break, and I'll be glad to see my mother again. And I had such a good mom, and I said, this is good. I hadn't put in any kind of a notice or anything. I said, probably when I'll talk to the road manager after I get back home, and and they'll ask me if I'm, because they'll want me to come back. I think he had already asked me. The road manager says, we like to keep you we want to keep you another season, because you're perfect for what Ray's doing here. I said, well, thank you. I'll give you a call. And they said, okay, please. We'll call you.
But then another opportunity knocked on the door.
The last day of that tour in, I believe it was Indianapolis, the last day of that third year, and I had seen him numerous times backstage, is Bo Diddley waiting for Ray. Whenever Bo Diddley played in the same town, he came over and hung out with Ray. They would trade war stories and laugh and talk right backstage. And there I am carrying my guitar and my music and stuff right out the door to go to the bus, to go to the tour bus, goes to the hotel. I'm walking out, I walk right past Bo Diddley and Ray Charles, and I didn't think much of it. I'm just glad another gig is over with and I didn't get yelled at, which only happened twice in the whole career of playing with him, so I did real well.
That's great.
And I'm walking past, and Bo Diddley, when I walk past, Bo Diddley goes, hey, Ray, who's your guitar player? And Ray goes, that's West Virginia. And Bo Diddley goes, West Virginia, what kind of name is that? And Ray said, that's my friend West Virginia. He does a great job for me, and he's a good guitar player. And Bo Diddley says, I was out front. You sound good on that box, man. I like the way you play, man. So why don't you come on and play with me now? Just like that, right in front of Ray. I'm figuring he's kidding. He's messing with Ray a little bit, I said, are you serious? And Bo Diddley just looks back. What do you mean? I'm always serious. He says, I know Ray's tour is over. Ray's going overseas. Where are you going? I said, I was thinking about going to West Virginia. He went, no. He said, no, I want you to play tomorrow night with me, in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'm going, I think this man's serious, my God. I think he's serious. I played with Bo Diddley the next night, with Bo Diddley and his bass player and his drummer.
No practice, no nothing,
no
just
practice.
walked on the stage.
Sweated bullets because there was no rehearsal, there was no nothing. I just knew where to be and what clothes to wear, had my equipment. And the bass player and the drummer, his bass player and drummer were there, and they're going, hey, so Pete, so you're the guy that's been playing with Ray. I said, yeah. And they said, oh, just good to have you. You'll do well here. I went, where's the music? What are we playing? They said, just take it easy, man. Bo gets out here, he's going to start playing, and we follow him. I said, okay, I know I can do that, but no rehearsal, just, and and they said, just, and before any of that happened, I'm backstage tuning up my guitar. Actually, it was a nightclub, and I'm backstage in this room tuning up my guitar, and Bo Diddley walks in. Hey, man, there you are. I've been looking for you. He says, yeah, man. He says, now you get to play that box for me. He says, we're going to have a good day. He says, I used to have a guitar just like that before I started using these square things that I have special made for me.
Square guitar.
And talked with him for about 20 minutes, and he says, all right, we're going to have showtime in about 10 minutes, and you and the boys going out there and start playing, and I'll be out there. Yes, sir. Honored to be here, and I go out there, and I'm nervous, I'm going, gosh, I said, I can tell this guy's serious, and I've heard his music before, so I kind of got an idea what to play, but still, no rehearsal, and I've been so used to rehearsing and working so hard for Ray, and here's Bo Diddley all of a sudden, and the big moment comes as curtains open and the place is packed with people, and we're standing there, and Bo Diddley walks out on stage in front of us, plugs into an amp, that square guitar, and he just starts playing by himself, chink, 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 and the drummer kicks a beat, and we follow him, chink, 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 and I went, okay, everything's good so far, all right, we're sailing now, and he's going, all right, people, he's talking to the crowd while we're playing, he says, it's so good to be here, and I'm glad to have you with us, and if any of y'all don't know, he says, if you don't know who I am, then you need to leave. I'm Bo Diddley, and he's funning with the audience, and so he starts playing. I'm gonna do this song. I wrote this song back in so and so, and he turns around while we're playing. He turns around and he's looking back at me, and I'm going, okay, I wonder if we're doing something wrong, and, I'm thinking the worst, I said, well, at least the most he can do is just throw me off the stage and tell me I don't have the job anymore. And then I'll just go to West Virginia, okay, I said, but he's keeping staring, he's staring at me, with his back to the audience, and I'm going, something's not right, My fly's down. What's going? I'm thinking everything I can possibly think. Did I walk out here with one shoe on? Okay, what is it? I'm playing right, and he walks across the stage towards me while we're playing. I went, okay, don't stop playing. If he hits you, just get up and go off the stage. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but we'll find out. He's walking. He walks right up to me, face to face. The audience, and he's looking up and down at me. He's watching me play. He went, yeah, man, I like the way that sounds, man. That's what I was looking for. I like the way that sounds, yeah. And he turns right around and starts walking back to the front stage. I said, let me just keel over right now, And that was my breaking in experience with Bo Diddley.
How long was the tour with Bo Diddley?
Bo Diddley was almost 2 years. Almost 2 years.
In-state only?
In-state only.
Okay.
Wonderful man to work for. My God, what a time I had.
A little
with him.
easier than Ray?
Easier than Ray. Easier than Ray.
So you got your break without going back to West Virginia.
I got my break without going back to West Virginia.
So 2 years later,
Yes.
Bo Diddley tour ends.
Bo Diddley tour ends. I go back to West Virginia.
You go back to West Virginia.
Yes.
But the story doesn't stop
The
there.
story does not stop there.
There's one more piece that's
There's
just
one more
unbelievable.
piece. Some man by the name of Lou Rawls came in my hometown and did a concert. And happened himself. He himself walked in that same place where Ray Charles's band came in, the Charleston Athletic Club. And Lou Rawls sat over there. I did not recognize him, although I knew who he was. I was already a fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
He walked in, he's got a nice dress hat on and a trench coat and a tie. He's dressed up in a suit, and he's sitting over there. He's just listening to the band. And I'm looking, I said, that guy looks familiar over there. But, we're just doing our thing, and I had been back got my guys about a year, and, and my keyboard player, ragged me all the time. Oh, he's a big star over here on stage with us now, and on the break, the waitress comes over and goes, "The gentleman over here like to buy you a cocktail. He'd like to talk to you." Okay. And I go over there, and he gets up. He goes, "I'm Lou Rawls," and I almost fainted, coughing, and because I recognized his face right when he said it. I said, "Oh my God." Lou Rawls. I said, I'm Buster Coles. I'm another one of your fans, one of your many, 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 many fans. It's an honor to meet you. He says, man, I like the way you play, man. I like the way you play.
So he had no recollection about you
No.
with Ray or you with Bo Diddley.
No.
It was like deja vu.
Deja vu.
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time. He walked in, and he sat there. He says, I like the way you play, man. He says, do you read? I said, yes, sir, I do. He says, you on drugs? I said, no, I don't do drugs. I don't do none of that. He says, you married? You have, and I heard the questions. I'm going, I said, Ray Charles's manager asked me a lot of the same stuff. Do I have kids? Do I have alimony payments? Have I been to jail? Have I been to this? You this? You this? Who do you live? Do you live with anybody? I said, my mother. Okay. Do you travel? I said, I can see where this is going. I said, yes, I travel. He says, why don't you come by? And meet my boys and play with us a little bit. I said, I'll be there. He says, come by and play with us a little bit. We'd like to hear what you sound like with us. He says, if you're interested. I said, I'm interested. I'll be there.
So you didn't go back. You didn't go back to your house and say to your mom, "Well, Lou Rawls, and I'm thinking about giving it up because she didn't have to kick in the butt again."
I said, I'm going to tell her what happens after I go play with him and his guys. I'll go tell her. I said, I got a good feeling about this, but I said, but I know Lou is he's a very down to earth human being and nice man, but he's also cracks the whip. He wants it perfect on stage, perfect. He wants the shoes polished. He wants the guitar to be like, just like a harp, sweet, beautiful harp. And
Did the name West Virginia stay with him, or did it just, you went
No.
back to being Buster?
I went to being B.C. Coles with Lou Rawls.
BC Cole, which is where the, oh, okay, because I just assumed Buster Coles, BC, but he,
B.C. Coles, and that was actually by one of his musicians in his band, his piano player, who was the band leader at the time, saying, Buster Coles, B.C., Buster Coles, B.C. All right, man, that sounds good, man. Hey, let's try this section again right here. Mr. B.C. Coles. And Lou Rawls went, B.C. Coles, I like that, you know. And I kind of became B.C. Coles with Lou Rawls.
how long did that tour last?
That was 2 years.
Another 2 years. Wow, what an exciting,
Yeah, wonderful man to work for.
that story right there is a musician's dream.
Yeah, it is.
Of today,
It
of
is.
all the young players that are out there, all the new players. It's like, and it was just pure.
Yeah,
luck.
especially at that time, Branford Marcellus also walked into that same nightclub and said, I'd like you to come do a gig with me. You know, Branford and Wynton Marcellus, the Marcellus brothers, the jazz cats, you know, they said, I'd like you to do a gig with me. I said, you know something, I listen to you guys and you're heavier stuff than what I do. They says, but he says, I'm doing Grover Washington, I'm doing smooth jazz, a couple of smooth jazz gigs. I wonder if you could travel. Come play with me, you know, in Ohio and a couple of places, a short, you know, 6-week thing. He says, I'm doing just a lot of funk stuff. It's funk mixed with jazz. You're the perfect guy for it. And I said, guys, you're going to have to do without me for a while, you know. And they're going, we don't believe it. We don't believe it. We don't believe it. I said, but I won't be gone as long. And I went and played with Branford for about a month. And, you know, and Wynton, and I was actually nervous because, you know, I know the perfectionists they are on their instruments and they're rated top-notch jazz. And Wynton sat right there, looked at me play. You know, he stood, pulled a chair right up in front of me to watch me play the guitar. And Branford's on stage beside me with his soprano saxophone, and he's there playing. He's playing, and I'm playing along. And I was confident in myself too because I knew the songs real well. And everyone, yeah, Branford's going, you're the guy, man. Come play with us for a few gigs, man. And I went, wow, okay, you know. And that was another one. Arthur Prysock walked in the club, who used to sing the Budweiser commercials. He said, man, he said, we just finished our tour, but I'd like to get your number. I like the way you play, man. Another well-known great jazz singer, you know, was on TV and radio and records, and him. It was a number of people. Butch Miles that played with Tony Bennett, drummer with Tony Bennett. He just liked to come to West Virginia and sit in and play with us because we had such a good band. And he goes, man, he says, I think I can get you in on something. And it never happened, but I see him on TV playing with all the big bands, and Buddy Rich, him and Buddy Rich would get on and do solos against each other, you know, in the Buddy Rich band, and you know, I've got to meet a lot of wonderful people.
And you left West Virginia to come to Bradenton and Anna Maria Island.
Yes.
How'd you end up down here?
I came down here. I was done after the mid '80s. I was done traveling for the time being. I wanted to spend some time with my mom and my brother, and play with the local band again. And I said, but if another good offer comes along, I'm going to take it, because I can't believe the people that I've gotten to meet and play with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not through with that, but I just still want to come here right now. I'm in between any big name people right now, so I want to play with my local band and continue to do that. And I started playing. I moved from Charleston went to White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, where the famous Greenbrier Hotel is, and where the presidents stay when they come into West Virginia and all that. And the Hidden Bunker was down there, and I went out there and I became a big hit out there at the Greenbrier Hotel. You know, just singing my own songs and meeting people like Paul Harvey comments, you know, Paul Harvey and celebrities that came out there heard me, and I changed my repertoire to singing I Left My Heart in San Francisco and Georgia and different and ballads and more sophisticated stuff, and decided to go to, you know, I actually decided a buddy of mine was calling me from Bradenton that used to live in West Virginia with me, who used to play with me, and he said, come on down. He says, if you got a week off, come down and hang out with me and wife in Bradenton, Florida. you know, he said, and I said, yeah. I said, I've never been to Bradenton, Florida. I've been all the way up and down the east coast of Florida. I've played in Miami. I've played at the Fontainebleau. I've played in West Palm Beach at the Breakers Hotel, and I've done all these big shows up and down the east coast, but I've never been to the west coast of Florida. So I got in my vehicle and drove to Bradenton, Florida, the first night back in 91, December of 1991. I drove down here, and with no intention of moving down here, I just wanted to see my friend and hang out on the beach and everything for 3 or 4 days and drive back up there. And that's how I came down here to visit my friend.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of folks down here that are glad you made that trip.
Yeah.
Because you know, your music is phenomenal and all of that.
Thank you.
Then you run into Doc Mambo.
Yeah, that came just a few years later. But I came down here, and the first night I was down here, my buddy took me out to Holmes Beach, Florida. There used to be a place out there called Turtles, and he took me out there in the band Eclipse, well-known band, many years around here. The band Eclipse was playing, and I walk in there, and Turtles is packed, and this band Eclipse is up there playing, and I don't know these people, you know. I'm just going, I hope my buddy didn't bring me here to maybe sit in with this band or something. I've been driving all day. I don't want to deal with this, you know. I don't want to, you know. Hopefully these people don't know who I am. I just want to sit here and drink a beer, look at the pretty girls, you know. And I heard that they stopped the song. I heard the drummer go, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a celebrity in the audience, you know, a gentleman that's played with Ray Charles." I went, "Oh my God," you know.
And you're looking around saying, I sure hope it's somebody else.
I said, I'd come all the way in here. I'm on the west coast of Florida, and this guy's already saying something about Ray Charles. I said, no, this isn't happening. And they took a break. They all come over. We're glad to meet you. We've been hearing a lot about you. Blah, 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 blah. Can you get up and sit in and play with us? Okay. And got up there and sat in with the band Eclipse, which, long story short, a few years later became my band, Eclipse. And Doc Mambo, who came down from Tampa to play with us one night, and Doc got up there and did 2 songs. We went, okay, let's go in the corner and talk to this guy, man, because this guy is happening, man, you know, and that's how that came about. I said, you know something? I said, I didn't plan on moving to Florida or anything. I said, but you know something? This is just the right change of pace for me right now. Come down here to the west coast of Florida and be close to the ocean and meeting all these new musicians and people around here, and just this is yeah, let's try this for a while. I'm still here.
Doc Mambo.
Hey, Tim.
How do you follow that story?
You can't. There's no one here can make that claim. Nobody. Look around.
But you have had some great success in the music industry.
I have.
Where are you from originally?
Manhattan, New York. Midtown.
Right from the Big Apple.
Big Apple. 2 blocks away from Radio City Music Hall.
How long you been in the music business?
45 years.
Anything else? You ever been a plumber? A garbage truck?
I was a baker.
A baker?
I'm a schooled baker. I went to school for it, and I got my master's in bakery. I wanted to become a baker.
What changed your mind?
My music was too strong. It just lived in me. I've been playing since 9 years old. I turned professional when I was 13. But I've always had a desire, and if you've ever been to New York, there's no pastry like that in the world. Okay? Baked bread, pastries, pizza. It's because I think the water had a lot to do with it. But I've been a pastry and bakery lover for day one. Yeah. So I wanted to know how to make the stuff. So I went and became a baker. Yeah, true story.
But kept playing.
I kept playing.
Kept playing.
Like I said, I turned pro 13 years old.
Always been on bass?
Mostly bass, yes. Yeah.
Never did trumpet or?
No,
guitar,
wasn't very good at any of those
drums.
kind of things. Still started in junior high school early. I played in a stage band. Wasn't very good at it. It took some time. Through high school, I started to get much better. Then vocally, my vocals started to mature, you know. And I always labeled myself as a not as a bassist or as a singer, but as both. That's always been my character, what I tried to become. I'm not good at either one of them, but I try to put them both together to work for me.
So you're a baker, not a doctor.
I'm
Where
not
did
a
Doc come from?
Doc Mambo came from a gentleman you probably remember. His name was Tito Puente. Do you remember him?
I do.
Okay, he was part of the Mambo Kings back in the day.
Yeah.
Which, you know, in New York, they were the guys. Well, two blocks away is where Tito Puente lived. I knew a lot of his people. And I was growing up 17, 18 years old. They gave me that name. So they're going to say, you are the Dr. Mambo. That's your name. And I've had that name now almost 40 years.
What's on your birth certificate?
I'd rather not say. I'd rather not say.
Okay, I won't force you.
It's okay. Everybody that does know me, they know me as Doc Mambo.
Yeah, they do. It's like Buster in BC.
Absolutely.
You know, but it's that's a great. Now you've had some musical success.
I have.
You played with a pretty good player.
Play with one. There's been many, but yes, I played with one really great player in this area. His name was Sarasota Slim.
Toured nationally?
Nationally and worldwide.
Oh, okay. So
I've played everywhere with Slim. I've gone from Germany, Italy, Spain, France, South America, Australia, all of the Virgin Islands. Yeah, halfway around the world with him.
Awesome. Now, I know that you guys are involved in the Clam Jam, which is just turned out to be unbelievable. The people that show up to that, and I know that you guys get Slim comes up.
Yes.
Get him to come out once in a while. It's a nice treat. There's not even places that can get a national artist to come out and do that. But BC and I, we have a lot of influence with him, and he'll come out.
Yeah.
Any any aspirations?
There's a lot. You know, BC and I are writers. We write a lot of music. And we try to get our music out as much as possible. Of course, we have YouTube videos out and stuff like that, but I think it's important to express how long we've been in the music. Him and I have almost 100 years in this business, okay?
Yes.
Between the both of us. He's got a little more than 50 and I a little more than 40. So therefore, that's what's important. I think that if you want to judge a person by what they do in the music business, you judge them by offering their music. And that's what we're going to do today with you, Tim.
And to AMI radio.
Yes, absolutely.
And yes, but yes, we, yes, but we enjoy, and we're always trying to put our music into the hands of people that will take it places for us. That never stops, so.
Actually, before I came to Florida, when I lived up in Vermont, I actually used to work for a small independent record label, Ocean Records. And when I moved down here and found out about the radio station, and for 9 years, 10 years I've been down here, and there is so much talent in this area.
There is.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And one of the things that that I wanted to do is like you go down to the clam factory, okay? Great place, Dave and John and Randy, wonderful establishment. Bring you guys in, do the clam jam, but just like John will say, the clam factory is a dive bar that serves food and has music.
Yes.
And that's what it's a dive bar that serves food and has music. So you go down there and you got BC up on stage, you got Doc up on stage, you got Sarasota Slim up on stage, you got Pat Hat up on stage, you got all these musicians sitting around, and everybody's sitting around, and you guys are up there playing, and they're drinking and shooting pool and playing bowling videos, and they're not paying attention to what's actually, and not understanding the quality, the professionalism, what's actually on that stage. So when Robert and Casey came to me and we were talking about the radio station, I said, one of the things that I want to do is I want to bring in musicians. And everybody's going, cool, yeah, I'll bring my stuff, I'll bring my guitar, I'll bring my amp, we'll do this. I go, no. I said, I want it to be a talk show. Because when people come to the Clam Factory, and now they see BC and you on stage, they're going to really appreciate and understand that the talent that's up there. So I want to get Sarah Slow to Slim. I want to get Pat Hat. I want to get, because, you know, I mean, the first time I saw Pat, he plays with you guys in the Clam.
Yes.
You know, and he's just this big old muscle-bound guy with it, you know, and he's back there beating the drums, and I'm going, yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's got serious background in music. He's played with some great people.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, you guys took a break. I'm over there talking to him. You know, I mean, he was a drummer for the Pointer Sisters.
Yes,
for God's
one of
sakes.
many. Yes.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, so that's what I wanted to do here.
It's a great concept, Hammer. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, great idea for this area. Wonderful, wonderful.
I will say this, BC and I, when he was approached by John and Randy for the Clam Factory, you know, you think about it and you go, a jam session? But, you know, you're right. It has brought out some of the great people that live in this area. You never know. You might see Matt Coates there.
Yeah.
You might see Tanya there.
Yeah.
These are all quality musicians,
Yes,
people that have dedicated their
wonderful.
lives to what they do, like us.
Uh-huh.
We do this for a living. We've never done anything else. I can't remember, BC, it's been that long. So that's that's what we do. We eat, breathe, and sleep music. It's not about anything else.
That's it. That's it.
Now, you all know Mike Sales.
Yes.
You know, you know Mike Sales.
I know him.
Great entertainer.
Rare bird.
I had him in, I think, on Monday. And he blew my socks off when he said he just learned to play the guitar 5 years ago. Before that, had never picked up an instrument.
It's a rare bird.
You know, and it's
That's what that
stories
is.
like
It's a rare
that.
bird. Yeah,
That-
it's a great
that
story.
It's like,
Yes.
You don't see that happen every day.
no, you don't.
Mike Sales told me this 2 years ago. Mike Sales hired Eclipse, my band Eclipse, to do a gig with him downtown Sarasota. And Mike said, I've been playing the guitar for 3 years. I went, what? What?
Yeah.
He says, I've been playing the guitar for 3 years. He says, and he says, I'm going to be DJing and playing along with you, with the band and doing all the announcing and blah, 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 blah. I said, 3 years, playing the guitar for 3 years. Do you need any help? You know, and he goes, I get all the help I can get from you, but he says, but I already got the whole thing planned out. But we did it, but he told me in 3 years, I went, I can't believe this.
Yeah, Mike's
you know,
a good teacher.
you know, and
Works with, you know, does a great job.
yes.
You guys aren't going to believe this. We've just blown through an hour.
Wow. That's a lot more than you said. That's amazing. It's great.
That is. I just, you know, I've waited, you know, to talk to you on the radio. I, you know, over the 9 years that we've known each other, you know, I've got to know your stories, and I know the West Virginia thing that a lot of people don't know.
Yes.
There's a lot more too, Hammer, that you don't know. I know we may not have time. There's a lot more. There really is. You know, I've worked with other people too. I've worked with Lucky Peterson. You know, I've worked with Nappy Brown, Tinsley Ellis. There's been a lot more. You know.
I want you to come in alone.
All right, what are these things?
Without having him over here. 'cause
Oh, why not? That's my best friend. Are you kidding? I don't do anything without him. I just want you to know. I have one more thing to say about this. This is a pretty interesting story. My mother, God rest her soul, she was my musical soul inspiration of life, and he knows that. My mother met this man back in 95, 96 when I first introduced him, and my mother fell in love with this man. So he became an honorary member of my family from that day on until my mother passed away. She told me before she left this world, she says, you stay next to this man. Don't you ever let him get out of your life. And I plan on doing that same thing.
Perfect. Then I will definitely have the both of you back. This has been great. You know,
Thank you for having me.
You are such talented musicians with stories to tell.
Good stories.
And you know, I'm looking forward for Clam Jam.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But next time we're here, Hammer, I want to talk, BC and I want to talk to you about the story about the rabbit and the little dog. That's going to be our next story with you.
Oh boy, I can hardly wait for that one. The Rabbit and the Little Dog. I'm writing that down. I'll have you guys back. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you
It
for having
has
me.
been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to be here.
We are AMI Radio 1700 on your AM dial, broadcasting live right here from Bridge Street.